Last month, my small team, about 30 life insurance agents, sold over $850,000 of life insurance. And here's a screenshot from last month, all over the phone and closing deals. And they got hit with all the common objections that you might be struggling with. I need to think about it. I can't talk right now. Or people hanging up on them. And until they understood this one thing, everything completely changed. Now, in this video, I'm going to share with you that if you implement this, what I'm about to share with you, how you're going to adapt your sales process, you will make more money, stop getting hung up on, you will adapt your process to actually be liked by more people, and you will close more life insurance deals, okay? And the reason I share this is because sometimes your training is not the problem. Sometimes you have the great script, and the script works perfectly, but it's not working for you. And the reason it's not working for you is because you're not adapting your sales process to your avatar. And this video is going to share with you how you're going to adapt your whole sales process to your avatar so they like you, they feel understood by you, and most importantly, they will want to buy from you. So first thing I want to do is talk about the difference between a type A versus a type B person. And then I'm going to share with you how your sales process is actually going to change in really core parts of your process, okay? And the first thing I want to talk about is who is a type A person versus who is a type B person. Okay, we all, for me at least, when I was selling life insurance, I didn't vibe as much with type A people. Type A people of this world are, I call the Mr. Jim Toms of the world. The guys who, as you can see here, are very logical. And I have this little stick figure drawing right here, are the guys like, hurry up, get to the point, let's go, let's keep moving, okay? These people need to be sold a different way compared to Miss Betty, okay? Miss Betty, the Miss Bettys of this world are just the most beautiful people. We love Miss Bettys. These are the people that are emotional, okay? Typically, they're going to be the ones that want a lot of depth. They're going to smile. They're going to be your favorite clients because when you're selling an emotional product like life insurance, they're going to vibe compared to Mr. Jim Tom, more logical guy, okay? Now, just to be clear, females can be logical, type A, and males can be type B, emotional as well. It just depends on who you're speaking to. And how you're speaking to these people is crucial. For example, I want you to understand and how you can identify who a type A person is versus a type B. A type A person is someone who you're going to tell when you're calling them, when you're closing them on the phone, they're going to be the type of guy or gal that's like, come on, man, get down to business. Let's go to it. What's the quote? Can I get the numbers? Okay, they're going to come at you quick. They do not, as you can see here, they do not want the fluff. They're a straight shooter. Compared to defining a type B individual, the sweet, lovely Miss Bettys, they're going to be like, I want to tell you how I feel. They're going to tell you stories about their grandkids. They're going to open up about maybe, their marriage. Compared to a straight shooter, they're going to keep their cards to their chest. So once you understand who you're speaking with, and this is very important, when your first 30 seconds, you want to know immediately the way that they pick up the phone. Are you speaking to a type A person? Let's get down to business. Or are you speaking to a type B person who's like super warm, super friendly, and opening up? Now, from that, your process is going to change based off who you identify them as. Okay, hashtag 2025. Oh man, okay. So the first thing is, let's talk about the type A person. They want to be sold like this. They want to be sold in a fast-paced environment. They're the type of people that are like, get me the quotes. They want to get to the end zone as quick as possible. They don't want the fluff, as you can see here. They want the meat. Let's get down to business. They are then sold when you ask them questions, which we'll talk about here in a second, so keep watching, in a very logical approach, okay? So if you're trying to ask Mr. Jim Tom emotional, deep, probing questions, they're going to get turned off, their brain's going to shut off, and they're not going to want to dive deep. Compared to, they want more logical. They want, well, who's stuck with the burial expenses? What am I getting, and how much does it cost? It's like me when I go shopping. When I go shopping, men, they go into the store, they get what they want, and they leave. Compared to like a Miss Betty or the lovely shoppers of this world, they want to ask, they want to feel, they want to touch, they want to ask the cashier questions. They're going to be the people that want to dive deeper. So type A, logical, no fluff. They are direct, not big on tonality, so you don't have to change your tone a lot. They just want to get down to business. And as you can see here, they are what we call transactional buyers. And how I speak to a transactional buyer, you're going to see how it changes, is completely how I talk to a type B. Miss Betty, emotional. I want to tell you how I feel. Now, how she wants to be sold is she wants to be sold at a slower pace. She wants to No rush. Take it easy. She's going to want to understand, the verbal cues. I hear you, Miss Betty. Your enunciation with your words is going to change. It's going to be very articulate because she's slow and she's going to probably want to write things down and she's going to want to understand your first name, your last name, maybe ask you questions about yourself. Compared to logical questions, they ain't vibing for Mr. Jim Tom. That's why in a type B person, relationship building is huge. If they like you, they will actually have a higher likelihood of buying from you because they want to know about you. They want to feel trusted by you. They're going to trust their intuition rather than their logic in a type A environment. They're also going to be more receptive to emotional, deep diving questions. Questions like, and how is that going to make you feel, Miss Betty? Walk me through, if you pass away, what is that going to do for your family? The emotional questions trigger that emotional depth, create more pain, and they're more likelihood to buy. So they love to sell stories and they're empathetic. Okay, so now that we know exactly who we're speaking to, type A and type B, let's share with you what changes. Okay, the first thing is when you're selling a type A person, you're going to see here, your speed in green is going to go up. Okay, compared to your speed with the type B, it's going to go down. Type A person, for example, in your medical underwriting, in your intro, in your discovery, they need to feel like the ball is moving. So what that means is that if you're slow, if you're unable to underwrite quickly, any heart attacks, strokes, or cancers, if you're unable to help them feel like the ball is moving forward quickly, they will disengage, they will say, hey, I can't talk right now, and they'll get off the phones. So this is why you need, when you're speaking to a type A person, you need to know your script like the back of your hand, you need to know your transitions like the back of your hand, and you know your questions ASAP, because if you don't have that, they'll sense the weakness. They're very dominant and they'll be like, you're not going to solve my problem. They don't think you're logically able to solve their problem. Compared to speed in a type B person, Miss Betty, she's going to want to slow down any heart attacks, strokes, or cancers in the medical section, where she's going to want to open up about her diagnoses and she's going to want to talk about her family and her discovery. And this is a very different approach. Your speed in your whole script is going to be slower. You're going to listen, you're going to have more pauses, and you're going to really just take it down a notch. Cool? The second core change is your verbal cues. Now, a verbal cue, if you're going through your script, is what you say before you ask the question. It's like you acknowledging what the prospect tells you before you ask your question. For example, your verbal cue with a type A person, it's going to be less of a verbal cue than compared to a verbal cue with a more type B person. For example, let me break this down. Mr. Jim Tom tells you that when he dies, he doesn't want to leave his burial expenses behind to his wife. Okay? A slower verbal cue would sound like this. Okay, gotcha. So it sounds like that you just want to make sure at the end of the day your wife's not stuck with your burial expenses, right? It's straight to the point. It's not deep, and we're moving forward. Compared to Miss Betty, who says, well, if I pass away, I don't want my husband being stuck with my funeral expenses. Oh, I see. So it sounds like Miss Betty. See my verbal cue? Oh, I see. I gotcha. So it sounds like that you just want to make sure that if at the end of the day you pass away, your husband's never burdened with your funeral expenses. Am I hearing you right, Miss Betty? I have a more drawn out verbal cue, and also my speed is slower. In a type B person compared to a type A, I have quicker speed and a shorter verbal cue. Oh, okay, gotcha. That's a huge difference. That is how you speak your language of them logically, thinking that you're moving them forward, and then B, helping them feel understood or heard, okay? The third core thing is that your depth of probing questions. This is really, really important, okay? A type A person, more logically approached, they're not going to respond, so you're going to see a decrease in depth. They're not going to have a lot of depth. They're not going to care about they just want to get down to business. They don't care about those deep, probing, rooted questions compared to if you ask a deep, probing question such as, Miss Betty, and how's that going to make me feel? Or can you walk me through if you die? Like, can you really paint that picture? Miss Betty is going to spill the beans. She might even get emotionally. You can hear that on the phone call, like where she's getting choked up because she responds and she is looking to get into that deep emotional state because that's how she feels heard and understood. And she just wants someone to ask about how she's doing. So if I try to ask deep, probing emotional questions to Mr. Jim Tom, he's not going to like it. He's going to hang up. If I don't get the depth, if I don't get the relationship, I don't get that deep clarity, she's not going to buy life insurance. Call length is really important. A type A person versus a type B person, your call length is going to be different. You're going to have less verbal cues. You're going to get to the end zone faster. You're not going to ask as many questions compared to a type B person. So a type A person, the call length is going to be short. Within 9 to 12 to 14 minutes, you should be inside of an application, moving quickly. But compared to a type B person, Miss Betty might be telling you the stories of her grandkids. She might try to be building that relationship. She might be getting her medications in the underwriting. She might be telling you about her, her friend who passed away who didn't have life insurance. And she's going to want to spill more of the beans. That means that your call length is going to be a little bit longer for a type B person than a type A person. A core change is the importance in tone here. Your tonality is very, very important throughout the whole sales call, but it does change when you're telling a type A person. Mr. Jim Tom does not care about my, and what would you say that would make you feel? He'd be like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, just give me the dang quote. He wouldn't care about my curiosity. He wouldn't care about my, and when you say that, what do you mean by that? Compared to a Miss Betty, a type B, she's going to be receptive. She's not going to understand how I'm asking those questions, and she's going to be more receptive and want to engage based off my tonality. So if I have more curiosity, if I have, oh my gosh, what would they have to do? Concern in my question too, or building out the pain section. Miss Betty, she's going to eat that up, and she's going to understand it, and she's going to want to dive deeper. Compared to if I asked Mr. Jim Tom, oh my gosh, and how would that make you feel? Oh no. He's going to be like, dude, I'm not talking about that. I don't care. Give me a quote. So my actual tonality of how I'm delivering my questions completely changes on the type of person that I'm selling. The fifth core thing is your authority on the call. And I think this is where a lot of sales are not made. You got to understand how to establish authority with a type A versus a type B. For example, authority for a type A person, they're going to test you. They're going to poop test you is what I want to say. They're going to see if you are going to stand up strong. They want someone that's going to be strong, that's going to see them level eye to eye and even test them. For example, Mr. Jim Tom, come on, give me a quote, man. If I'm like, oh yeah, I'll give you a quote, Mr. Jim Tom, just please, yeah. And I'm really needy and I'm desperate and I don't stand my ground. My respect is out the door with this person, and they're not going to respect me. They're not going to understand that I can go through challenges, and they're not going to trust me to handle their life insurance need with them most of the time. So in this case, authority-wise with the type A person, you have to give it back to them. And how I like to do that is I like to say, hey, Mr. Jim Tom, I label them as a straight shooter. Mr. Jim Tom, to me, it sounds like you're a straight shooter. Is it cool if I see you eye to eye and I shoot you straight? They say yes, and then they feel heard and understand by their language. And they're like, yeah, we're going to go through the process the way that they want to be sold. And in that case, you have to have no fluff. You can't have a lot of depth. You have to get to the meat, and you have to stand your ground when they're testing you. Give me a quote. Hold up, Mr. Jim Tom. I'm doing my best here. Hang tight. And you give them that pushback because no one else is going to do that. Compared to your authority, when someone is a type B person, my intro is going to change. My tonality, who I become is different. Instead of me being that stern guy that's going to see eye to eye in a type A person, I am going to smile. I'm going to soften up. I'm going to be like your grandchild. I'm going to be the nice guy that, yeah, absolutely. I totally understand, Miss Betty, and I'm here for you. Some say that's phony. Some say that's acting, but it's actually smart. It's adapting to your environment. I call this the chameleon approach. A chameleon adapts to its environment to feel safe, to feel protected, to get what it wants, to hunt. Same thing in our sales process. I have to adapt my tonality. I have to adapt my facial postures. I got to adapt who I am to match my type of personality that I'm selling. And if I do that, they'll feel heard, they'll feel understood, and they'll have a higher likelihood of buying. And if you can understand how to sell a type A person versus a type B person, I promise you will make more money, you will sell more life insurance, and you will be a better life insurance agent. Now, if I haven't mentioned this yet, our team, Legacy Family Life, we're hiring. We're looking for great agents. No lead costs. We'll give you all of our winning systems, and we'll help you crush, and we'll give you the training that takes you to the next level. So if you want to join, click the link below in the description, and you can join us. But guys, that is the secret sauce to help you grow and win as a life insurance agent. If you like this video, let me know below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.